little sip, and I definitely love those videos, and I think I'll be doing a like sip and chat video, but I didn't feel like drinking alcohol today, so I thought I'm gonna get instead my energy drink, because I'll need some energy for this video. And yeah, we're gonna have a little drink, and I'm gonna tell you a story. It's gonna be a story time. I love those fizzy drinks. So good. So for the story I want to tell you guys today, I want to give a short disclaimer, because I feel like I need to say it up front. I will be talking about, serious illnesses, in particular cancer, and yeah, I just wanted to say it up front because it is a very serious topic. It's a very serious illness. I know a lot of people who struggle with it, and it's not an easy diagnostic, and it shouldn't be, taken lightheartedly, and I feel very, sorry for everyone who has to go through it, even if they, just have to support a friend or, a loved one through those times. But yeah, in this story I will be talking about someone who pretended to have this illness, and I know that's really hard for some people to hear. It can be really triggering, and I do not want to bring that kind of negativity in your life, so I'm saying it up front, and I'll be making more storytime videos if this isn't the topic for you. But for everyone else, I hope this is going to be not entertaining maybe, but an interesting story to hear, and maybe it can help someone. I don't know how it would help someone, but it definitely helps me talking about this story, because even though it's been a while since it happened, I still am not, over it. So, you guys, we're gonna do a therapy session today. So yeah, as I sort of mentioned before, we will be talking about someone who faked having cancer, which is taking a lot up front of the story, because I did not know that for the longest time. So I'm 21 now, I'm almost 22, my birthday is coming up with full speed, I'm excited. But the story has been 4 years ago now. So I was 18 and I was just finishing high school, or the high school equivalent in Germany. We call it gymnasium, which is sport hall for some people. But yeah, besides the point. But I was having finals, and during the finals I was having dinner with one of my friends that I'm gonna name Emily, and we were talking about David. David was also friends with our friend group, and he's the one that this story is mainly gonna be about. So David and I knew each other for since I was 14 maybe, and he is 4 years older than me, so he was 22 at that point, and now it's I don't know, 26 almost. But yeah, so we have known each other for a long time, and yeah, as I said, I was out with Emily that day grabbing lunch, and yeah, we were just having lunch, and then she tells me she was talking with David, and when he was out on a party night, he called her up and told her he had cancer. but the treatment was like not available or something, or like only in America. I don't 100% remember it. But he basically was saying the doctors gave him like 6 months with proper treatment from America, maybe a year. So yeah, that really took me, with surprise, and I thought my friend was dying, and I thought I'm gonna lose my friend, my best friend at the time, my best guy friend. And as you might be able to imagine, I wasn't doing well after hearing that. I was crying, I was sobbing, I was literally like throwing down everything. I still had 2 of my finals left to do, and I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I've done it to get through them, but I somehow managed it. I think those were like the worst weeks of my life. I was so sad. I was so done. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It was just so much sadness, and I was so scared, and I was just like, this cannot be real, this can't be my life. He's like so young, like this cannot be happening. But I have worked on a cancer station at the hospital, because we had to do an internship there, and there were young people there as well, so I didn't initially doubt what he was saying. And I was just like, I was really overwhelmed with the whole situation. I honestly didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to act with him. I didn't know what to do. And to make things worse, he asked me to keep it confident and like keep it a secret, not to tell my other friends, except Emily, who obviously already knew it. But we also had 2 other close friends, and I'm gonna name one of the girls Victoria and the other one Nella. So Nella and Victoria were also not part of the group in particular. That was more Emily, me, David, and a few other guys. But they were friends of mine who knew him and knew him like well enough. So he basically asked me not to tell them, because he like wanted to keep it a secret as long as like he would know what like the plan of action was. So I did. Looking back, that might have been a mistake, but I did, and I think that made it worse for me because I really didn't have anyone to talk about it, and yeah, it was a hard time. And so this probably went on for a couple of weeks, where he was just kind of like telling us he was consecutively getting worse, and he wasn't going to get treatment from America, so he only had like a couple of months left. He said he was going through chemotherapy, so I was really trying to be there for him. And yeah, I don't know. He kinda manipulated us, me and Emily, in a way, which I can say like afterwards, but during that time I like didn't see it at all. But he was like, he really wanted to spend time with me, and obviously with her as well. He was but I didn't end up doing that. Like that just like occasionally crossed my mind, but I kind of feel like it's a telltale sign, like afterwards, for how manipulated we were. I literally thought about, you know, being like, you know, whatever situationship with someone who I did not have any feelings to, just because he made us feel so bad. And yeah, I don't know, it just kind of kept going on. Like he would still go to like parties with us and stuff, but he was just saying he was like really sick and wasn't feeling good. And yeah, I just like, I spent so much more time with him than I would have otherwise, I guess. So one day I just kind of lost it, and I was over at Nars, and I told her what was going on with David, and surprise, surprise, she already knew it, and she just lost her grandma to cancer actually as well. So he was messaging her on Instagram and kind of consolidating her and like being like, yeah, like everything's gonna be fine. Like I know how your grandma was felled, you know, like it's hard to know you're dying. Bullshit. Yeah, so she knew about everything. She was like feeling really bad, but he as well told her not to tell me. But I already knew, you know, and he knew I already knew. So I thought that was kind of not the coolest thing to do, because I could have honestly used the support of talking to my best friend, and she could have probably used the support to talk to me. So that definitely wasn't cool. But at that point, we now like finished our high school time and we graduated. We had our like graduation party, and like our graduation prom, I guess, where I invited him to, so he could be part and like have it as a memory. And one of my other friends, Victoria, who I said before was also friends, was gonna leave for her overseas year afterwards, and I had like, I knew, you know, that this might be the last time where she would see David, so I, you know, 1 or 2 days before she left, I kind of like told her, you know, you might want to say a bit more of a goodbye to him, and surprise, she already knew as well. So I kind of got the egg with the whole story, and I was kind of like, you know, like something here isn't like really adding up, and yeah, I don't know, it's just like a really terrible feeling to think your friend is like lying about something like that, and it really, you know, didn't help anything to think that. So I kind of like tried to put that thought away, and you know, I couldn't say that to anyone, you know, that I was kind of like not finding it cool what was going on, that he was like telling all of us, but like telling us we need to keep it a secret from each other, and like not knowing who of our friends would know about it and who don't. So it was just generally really weird, and then that just hit the fan. So my friend left, Victoria left for China, so we could only reach her over Telegram as well, because they didn't use WhatsApp. So then all of a sudden I get frantic calls from China. She was going crazy. So this like weeks after we first hear of it, probably months, and she says he's like saying goodbye to her, like over messages. He's saying he's gonna die right now, he's gonna die tonight, he's feeling so shit, you know. So I'm like frantically like calling, you know, my friend in China and like trying to reach crazy. So next day comes around and we still haven't heard of it from him, and this was a bigger drama, you know, than you can now imagine from me like calmly telling the story. But it was pretty crazy what was going on. We were like all freaking out. So I just got my driver's license and I had a car from my dad. So I decided to pick Emily up after her work, and we decided to drive to the nearby like next bigger city where he was saying he was in the hospital, and that is about an hour away. And I come from a pretty like rural town and never before like driven in the big city before that and stuff. So it was a pretty big thing for us. Like I literally had my driver's license for like 2 months at this point. So I like packed Emily up and would like drive up to the hospital, and then at the reception we asked for him, and the lady's like, no, like we don't have anybody here except if they're like on the on one of those stations, and like they fill out a form, like if they're like in it's called palliative care, maybe. So you know, where they care for people who had to die and they're trying to make it as easy for them as possible. And she was saying like they sometimes like sign an non-disclosure ad so they can't tell you that they're there. So we were like her telling us that, you know, it just like confirmed everything in our heads. We were like, holy fuck, he's dying. He's like, maybe he's already dead. We know. We were just like massively freaking out. So we tried, because remember I worked on a cancer station at the hospital, not at this one, but like the one in our town. But okay, like this is really stupid, but so you know, like usually you can just walk into a hospital if you're trying to visit someone. So we decided we just gonna like sneak around the hospital and like try to find his name on like the door or something. So like we run through this like hospital and like it was so stupid. Honestly, we like tried to search for like his name and we tried to search for him, and we're flipping out. So at this point, and Nala doesn't know from the whole story, but we like call her because like she like we were like, do you know anything what's like going on? So she at that time was on holiday in Berlin, so now she's freaking out. Victoria in China is freaking out. Emily and I in Germany, like in this hospital, like an hour away from our parents and stuff, we're freaking out. And like we just didn't know what to do, you know, like what are we gonna do? Like, are we just gonna sit? Like, is someone gonna inform us if he like would have actually died if it was like that bad? Like, where is he? What's going on? So we like end up calling our guy friends, and we're like, we like heard of him, but like none of them had. So I think after like 2-3 hours of us like frantically running through this like hospital, we were just like we literally can't find him. Yeah, you know, like I don't know what to do. Like, let's sit down, have some food, and like reiterate the plan. So we sit down and have some food, and obviously, you know, we like spammed his phone. I don't think I mentioned that, but we obviously spammed his phone. And then all of a sudden, my messages go through to his phone, and I was just like, what's going on now? And then all of a sudden, he starts messaging and me, and he's like, yeah, like I had like a heart arrest, and like they had to what do you say it? Reanimate. That's the one. They had to like reanimate me like 2 times last night. I was so close to dying, and then they ended up flying me to the next big hospital, which is again like an hour away from where we already were. So it's like real far away. So he's like, yeah, they like flew me there, and like blah blah blah, like I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, it was like someone like said like, it was like, hey, this is like David's nurse. He can't like message anymore. Like, you need to talk to me. And I was like, what? And then she's like, yeah, like he forgot all. He like has amnesia, and he forgot everyone and he like can only remember you and your his girlfriend, and I'm just like, what? Like, no. Yeah, it's like that was like super weird, right? She was just like, yeah, like he's like doing so weird, and like we're there, and like he almost died and stuff, and we're just like, oh my god. And then at some point it was like him messaging again. I sadly don't have the old chats because I like ended up deleting everything after a while, but I was just like, okay. So we were just like, can we like come meet him? And she was like, no, like no one's allowed to come. He needs like rest, just like family and stuff. So we were like, okay, I guess. And then we drove back home, like messaging him. My friend was messaging, obviously me driving, and we were so confused. We were like, I don't know, you know, we still had like contact to Victoria and Nella, but it was so confusing. And on that like drive back, we were like, what are the odds? Like, why does he have to get like reanimated, and like why is he in like the different hospital? Because like they already have like a good cancer station, and like it doesn't make any sense that like would have flown him out. And like why does like a leukemia patient have like a cardiac like heart arrest, and like why would he have amnesia? So yeah, just all like was like really weird, you know, like the whole like he only remembers like me, he doesn't know who anyone else is, which is kind of like really weird because it's like, you know, it's like selective amnesia. It was like you still know what you like did last night, and you still know your like phone pin code, but you apparently don't know like the people. Yeah. So that was super weird, and we kind of were like talking about it, and at first we were kind of being like, yeah, like okay, it's like really crazy and stuff, but none of us like really wanted to admit what we were like thinking, because I think at this point we kind of like started thinking that it was a lie, or like at least some part that were exaggerated. But honestly, you do not wanna, in that situation, you do not wanna say to your friends that they're lying about this. Like, I don't think you want to think that about like anyone, that they would actually be like physically, mentally, psychologically able to make up such a crazy story and like pretend they were dying. I just like in the beginning we just like really didn't want to believe it, but on that drive home I think it just kind of like more and more was making sense, and I think the suspicion kind of arose. So 2 days later was his birthday, and he ended up saying his parents like got him out of the hospital, even though apparently he didn't know who they were, and he wanted to celebrate his birthday like 2 days later, so he really wanted to get out of hospital, and like he like left against like doctor's advice and stuff. I don't know. So he was back home on Friday, and we were like, can we like visit you and stuff? So Emily and I drove down, and we already kind of made a plan to, you know, see if he was actually in hospital, and we were like trying to like find like evidence to see if he has been in the hospital. And I grew up with like doctor parents, my whole family are doctors. I wanted to be a doctor, but then didn't end up getting into med school because that's really hard here. But you know, I know some of the telltale signs, and usually, you know, when someone's nearly dying, you would think they would give them some kind of transfusion. I don't know those like medical terms. Yeah, but you'd think, you know, they'd have a needle in their arm, and you'd think that a proper doctor or a proper nurse who would like take that and stuff, so I was kind of looking for that, but couldn't find anything. We were kind of like snooping around the kitchen and stuff, seeing if there was any like medications or like doctor's notes. And the weirdest thing, like his mum wasn't home, like she lived with her boyfriend at the time, and he was kind of living in their house. But I was just like, why would you leave your kid alone that like almost died like 2 days ago? Like, hell no, no mum would do that. Yeah, it just got weirder and weirder, and he was kind of like saying he had like really big bruises on like his chest from getting reanimated, and that he was like feeling really bad, and he had like chest pain and stuff. Obviously you would have. So so Emily, that was kind of like probably like the funniest thing. I don't know why there was like a big showdown after that, but we like kind of walked out the door, you know, kind of like saying goodbye. Like we just like chucked in on him, and she just like takes his shirt and like pulls it up to like see his chest, and like I did not have the balls for this. Okay, I would have never done that. I don't know. I'm not that kind of person. I'm outgoing, but I'm not crazy. But she just like yanks it up, and yeah, surprise, no bruises, no nothing. They're perfectly white and airy. So yeah, we were just like, okay. Obviously he just lied to us as well, like in that second. So, you know, our suspicion got even worse, but we weren't telling any of our friends, like Victoria and Noah, like didn't know anything about that, as they were both gone, and neither did our guy friends. Cause yeah, weird suspicion to tell people. And we just ended up going home after that. I, like in retrospective, I honestly don't understand why we were like right then and like, how the fuck are you lying? You're lying. What are you talking about? What's this? Like, what's this on about? What's going on? But we didn't. But on the next day, on Sunday, was his birthday party, so we like made another plan for that to snoop through his house. I honestly felt like I was in a spy movie. That was bad. So we had a garden party, because at that point it was like summer, and he had like a jumping castle and stuff, like what the heck. But yeah, so we were like all outside and stuff, and you obviously had to go inside to go to the toilet. So every time Emily or I would go to the toilet, we were like spying out the house and like looking for you know, mats and stuff. Don't judge me, okay? But at that point I was like really desperate to find like any clues, like anything to prove that he was lying, because at that point we like felt so bad of accusing him to lie about something like this. So yeah, it wasn't, you know, the most ethical thing to do. But yeah, we did it. We didn't find anything interesting, as you can imagine, as I already told you, it was lying. But we didn't know that time. But yeah, we didn't find anything. We like looked in his room and stuff. Yeah, but we didn't find anything. And at some point on the party, all of a sudden he was gone, and we were like, where is he? So I went looking for him, and he said like on his bed alone, like in his house, and I was just like, what are you doing and stuff. And then we kind of end up talking for an hour, and he's just like, yeah, like I'm so scared of dying, like it's so bad, like I don't know what to do, literally like cried in that moment. And yeah, I don't think I've ever felt worse in my life. But I honestly don't remember what like really happened after that. I think we just like went back down, and because I was like telling him, yeah, you know, you need to tell like the rest of the boys and stuff. He ended up telling them, and yeah, he didn't make it seem as bad to them as he always did to us, which I didn't think of too much because I knew, you know, he kind of wanted to keep it more secret. Yeah, but now I definitely, you know, see the signs a little more. But yeah, it was just a bit weird, but I think that like kind of concluded that night. And then on a Saturday, I was sleeping over at Noah's house, and I was just kind of like all the time like thinking about what's like happening, what like went down and stuff. And I ended up going through the photos I took in his house, because we did take like, you know, photos of things that we kind of wanted to look up and stuff, but didn't, because me and him had that talk that like deeply concerned me. But I did find a box of needles in his room, and I found a like medicament bin, like no package in the bin. So I took a photo of that, and I don't know what came over me that night, but I ended up googling what it was, and it turned out to be anabolica. That is, to my knowledge, illegal in Germany, and it is a gym rat, so not too surprising. But in that moment, just kind of like everything clicked, because like who in their right mind while going through like chemotherapy, you know, and like you don't want to mess with that, you know, would inject themselves anabolica to what, you know, to have more gains from the gym you don't go to because you're literally on chemotherapy. So you know, in that moment, that was like finally the evidence I needed in a way to think more of that. So I like messaged Emily, and like we were like, yeah, like let's talk to the boys, to the other boys. So we called like an emergency meeting on Monday. So we were all at my house, not David, just the other boys, and me and Emily, to kind of like go over everything and like you know, talk about what was going on, and like if they know anything, and like how we could help him the best and stuff. Because obviously we wanted to be careful approaching the situation, but we also wanted to know if he would have confided in like the other ones, you know, if like something more was like going on, that it wasn't just that lie or like half lie or what was going on. So we ended up talking to them, and we ended up deciding that we all wanted to meet on Tuesday with him, and you know, kind of like just ask. So someone, I still don't know who from the three boys, must have snitched that night, but Emily was like staying over at my house for a little longer, and all of a sudden we get messages from him, and he started saying that the hospital like switched his like blood reports with someone who had leukemia, and like it was like an accident, and it was like the hospital's fault, and like he only had like how do you call it, like a heart infection, a heart muscle infection, and yeah, they just like swapped the records, and he wasn't actually sick, but like he underwent like chemo for like 3 months, and like no one noticed. Please. And it was just like the weirdest thing, and like you could just like tell he was like trying to get out a lie, and he was like trying to like send like really badly photoshopped like pictures of like hospital records, or it was like heart infection or whatever. And at that point we were like so angry, right? We were just like, this was like the moment like it all came out, and like we were so angry, and we just like wrote him like this long message, and I honestly just blocked him afterwards. Like I did, like I don't know, I'm usually not the person person who like blocks you, and like I am a big believer in like, you know, giving second chances and like, you know, not just like throwing friendships or like relationships away, but that like, I don't know how I could justify that in the world, you know. So yeah, we just, that was that. We never, like, after that, like for years tried to have any like contact with him. Like we didn't know what this was about, like what was actually like, happening and stuff. I think none of the boys, like I know Nella and Victoria were not talking to him at all. Nella was like so pissed off because you know, her grandma, and he was like consolidating her, and it was just like the weirdest thing. Like I can still not believe that this like happened in my life, because it's such a wild story. It's literally like, it's like a movie, you know. Like I never thought in my life I would be in this situation, and like it just feels like super unreal to like think that like this happened and this was like going on, and we were just like, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. So weird. Now, as a little update, just 2 months ago, actually, like after Christmas, me and Emily ended up meeting up with David, and you know, because we kind of like wanted to clear some of the things up, because we, you know, after I, especially this year, really wanted to make a change in my life and like improve my mental health and like be more, you know, forgiving and like growing over past mistakes and stuff. So I really wanted to know what was going on back in the day, and I wanted some clearance on it. So we ended up meeting up with him, and he didn't meet up with him, which I was surprised he initially did. And you know, he now did admit to lying to us back in the day, and as an like explanation in a way, he said that one of his close family members was going through this at the time, and he didn't know how to like cope with it, and then just made up this lie when he was drunk and like telling Emily, and then he said it was just like going out of control. But you know, obviously there's always two sides of the story. Maybe it got out of control with Emily than telling me, but he would have not had to tell like Noah or Victoria like separately from us to, you know, the same thing. So yeah, I still don't really have answers. I don't really know what went on back in the day, and it's, you know, still a story that like gives me a lot of things to think about whenever I think about it or like tell it. And it's definitely one of the weirdest things that happened in my life, and one of the wildest in a way. If you kind of like know my timeline, that was in summer, all that going down, and probably like 3 weeks later, I basically fled to Australia and lived there for the next 2 years, because obviously, you know, that has done a lot to me when I was 18, and it was something I really badly wanted to get away from. Just, you know, the people, the lies, the negativity. So yeah, that was probably one of the reasons I went to Australia, and as well stayed there for so long. And after coming back from Australia, I straight up moved 2 hours away from my hometown. So, you know, I feel like that was, you know, a lot for me. So I think that's why I wanted to deal with it now as well. But yeah, it's definitely not easy for me to lose a friend like this and to go through everything, you know, thinking to lose a friend. So yeah, I don't think I can say much more to this story. I think everything has been said. I like to go over things and like try to like actually reiterate how I was like really feeling in that moment, because like I always feel like I don't bring my feelings across well. Anyway, if you think about lying to your friends about something like that, please don't. to listen to you, like, rant to me as long as you want. You can find me on my socials and feel free to like message me every day